Welcome G. Let's start Kotlin tutorial. Today I'm going to discuss about functions. Okay, so here we are discussing in Kotlin how we can write a function, what is the syntax, and some theory about the functions and some example as well as. Okay, so in Kotlin, first functions are a first class citizens. It means that the function can be assigned to a variables, passed as an argument, or returned from another functions. Okay, so functions is a first class integer. That means you can assign this function to another variable, or you can pass this function as a function argument, or a function can return another function as well as. Okay, so Kotlin is a statically typed language. So to make it possible, functions need to have a type. So it's exist and it's sometimes called a function type as well as. So whenever we are talking about a functions, please consider functions is in Kotlin is a first class citizens, so that you can assign this function to a variable, pass in a function, pass as an argument, return from a function. So in as you know, in any programming language, to use the functions, generally we have the first declare function, then use function. So the functions in the Kotlin are declared using the keyword fun. Okay, so fun is used to declare functions. So we have to discuss about the function, keyword, the syntax and semantic in the functions. So in generally, whenever we are writing a function, there are some kind of different types you can say a function as well as. So let us say about talking generally functions, uh, function type that are return nothing, useful nothing. Like this is the function which does not take any input, does not return any value. So in Kotlin, each and every function must return some value. If any function that not return any value, in that case we have to return a void. Here is the no concept of void. Here in Kotlin known as a unit. So this function does not take no any argument, nothing return. So nothing, still you can use the return unit. Function can take one argument and return one value as well as. Function can return value and take a single argument of type as well as. One function, this function can return function that return another functions. Okay, in this case it return. So this function can return another function, that function return a unit. So in this way, you can say you can define a function that does not take any input argument, that not return any value. Function can take some input argument, can some return value. Function can take input argument as a function or return something. So multiple permutation combination Kotlin returns, but be sure in Kotlin each and every function must return something. If they are not return any value, you have to return your unit. So whenever we're going to check the example of a function, there are some common terminology for functions we already know. Sometime we know the function, and sometime we are calling a method, sometime we are calling the procedure. So be clear what the meaning of function, what the meaning of method, and what the meaning of procedure. Okay, so in Kotlin, uh, uh, we have a use method as well as a functions. So let's clear. Math functions and a method two are commonly confused words. While every method is a function, but not every function is a method. So you can say every method is a function, but not every function is a method. Okay, so be clear. There is also another words are interchangeably used as a procedure. So be clear ki what is a function, what is a method. So in functions returns a value. First things, functions return a value, while a procedure does not return any value. So this is the major differences. If you're talking about procedure, that not return any value. So in Java, so in Kotlin, you can say in Kotlin each function returns some value. So Kotlin by default only support a function, not a procedure. And a method is a function associated to an object. So whenever any functions that associated to a specific object, okay, that is known as a method. Okay, and function is generally can associated within an object, or can associated within a class or outside of class. This is known as a functions. Okay, so please ensure method is a function, but when the particular function is associated with particular object. If that is particular, if any function cannot associate with the particular object, you can say it's normal function. So let us give some example. First, discuss about the very simple function. Okay. So let's take a parameter of a string and return nothing, no return value. So this is the first writing any method. This is the first keyword. You have to use the fun keyword, and second your function name, whatever function name you want, and your input argument, maybe one argument, two argument, three argument, and your return types. Your return types, your input argument, your function name, and fun keyword. So that say this is the function, and the this is the opening curly brace and closing curly brace, and here is the function body, whatever you want. So let's write a main method, and you can write a function. So fun keyword, and let's key so let's say some input argument. So input argument like input, maybe types of string, input types anything, and the what return, I don't return any value unit, and this is the body, and here you are just hello your dollar input. So this is the syntax of your functions. You can write your fun keyword, your function name, your input argument, your return types, and your body. So first you declare function. First you declare function. This is the declaration of function. First you declare function and declare function. Next you can use the so use function you have to invoke so whatever input pass, let's key John, and you run it. So what you invoke the so function take your input argument and does not return any value itself. In the Kotlin you have to write some return types. So if you declare like So this is the one way. Or you have, if your function does not return any value, you can specify your return type unit, or options you can skip, and your method can take one argument, two argument as well as. Okay, so you can say write, let's write another function. Here you have option, you can just return blank, and your input types maybe input 1 string. Here say input 1 and input 2, 1, or dollar input 1. So in this way, you can also use like the same function. Here say any, and you can run. So we have a Kotlin provide options. You can manually specify your return types, or particular function does not return any value, you can just skip it. Okay, and so if your functions is sometime I don't want to pass the second argument, so I have options to give a default value. Either this is the change like a title and name, title, this is like your name. Okay, and this way say keep first your title and second your name, in this way. So here you have given option, if you have not providing any value, default value, Mr. And so here if you run it, show me, show me. Okay. Let's just I pass this way. So what is the confusion? It works. It works. So here we have a confusion. Name parameter will not pass. So this parameter take two value. One, first argument is the value, and second your names. So here problem, if you pass in this way, so here you can say like name equal to John. You specify the name and then you can invoke. Then it works. Okay. So here you can specify the name argument as well as and take a sim default value. Or you can say ki I want pass both name and I pass title. Okay. So here key argument types in different order still works. Okay. So here you can say mrs value shown. Sits out. So in while invoking a functions, we have options. We can invoke with the same order which they are declared, or you can pass some default value, if and default value here you default will take, or you can specify the any order with the help of your named argument. So this is the named argument, and you can pass in as what you think. So here similarly function takes an second as optional parameter with the default value. Here you have a prefix default value info. Okay, and here your message, whatever message mask. So your prefix and your message you can print. So here you can set your prefix first and message second or prefix first. in any order you can pass. This is your named you can say argument. So string Kotlin offer you can mm, call your function with your named argument. And sometimes your if you can also call like fun let's key show one, and here say does not take any value, just and then here is write println hello so on so on. So this is the also function. Okay, so this is their function. If you have only single line of statement, so you can omit this curly brace as well as, so you can just write here. It can also take some parameter. Okay, if you want to some take parameter like another name. So here you can Smith. So there is a if we have options, the proper syntax say always write your function keyword fun, your function name, your input types, and the return types. This return types can be omitted. Okay, and if your function is so small, only one line of body, you can just ignore this equal to open craze, quote craze, flat write your business logics. So this is the concise form of your uh, function. Let's say your function like fun. So two. Let's see. They take your uh, x, your input types, and just return. Just take another first. Okay. Here next example. So your function can returns an integer value, not only maybe here we are return void. So the your here again your function fun keyword, your function name, your input types, maybe two argument your input can takes, and your return types. In this you can write this function. So let's write fun sum, take x your input types and your y as a input types, and you this function should return integer value, and here write and here say return x plus y. This is way. So here you can say sum 100 plus 20, 10 plus 20. So in this way your different this okay, you can return the some value, sum equal to your this is the sum. So we have options. You not only take input or strings. Uh, so syntax is simple. Always you write your fun keyword, your function name, your input argument, your return types. Return types is optional if you have a very kind of small returns. So in this next our here say if your this is your single expressions. So if a single expression function that returns an integer can inferred, means this data type also can inferred. You can just flat let this single statement. So don't need to a curly brace. Instead open curly brace and just equal paste your here place to equal to, and what the value, this is all automatic infer here. So you can say right here a fun multiply. Let's get take your x input, y input, and here say only x multiply y. This is also so here you can write println multiply by 50 and 2. So in this way, the return types, what the return types is the optional. We can this compiler automatic infer the return types of this. So you have options. You can write this way, or you can, if you want to specify return types, you can specify. It also works. Not an issue. But if sometime you want to specify the function return types, should be specified. But if you're in line only one line, your compiler automatic identify your return types. So it's also works. So in this way, we have options. You can write function in normal way, complete your func keyword, your function name, your input argument, your return types, opening braces and closing braces. Here write your logics. And you look, this is the single expressions. You can omit your curly braces and place your equal to, and whatever your single expression value you can write here, and the data types return value also the compiler can automatically infer what the value should be returns. Okay, so this is kind of a different flavor Kotlin offer. You can write a functions. Okay, so this can be your omitted. Still works. So let us talk about the scope where you can define functions. So in generally, if you talk other language like Java, so for defining any things in Java, first write one class. Inside class, you have write a function. But is in Kotlin till now, no, you have written like lots of function, but we have not written any class. So Kotlin offer you can write a function flat in your file, your Kotlin file itself. So Kotlin function can be declared at the top level in file, meaning you do not create any class to hold the functions. So that is the one things which we are all the functions we are written without any class. So this is known as a top level function, and Kotlin also offer. Okay, you can write your local function. Okay, Kotlin support local function, which are function inside another function. You can write function inside another function as well. Generally this kind of a facility is not supported by the like a Java and other programming language. The member functions that is supported by Java. First you write your class. In the class you can write a function, that is the member function. That member functions is also known as your method. So the where you are defining a function, the role different. Okay, so let us you are a main function. You can define another function here, fun calculate. Let's this take two input, a your integer and b your integer, and just you want to calculate a plus b. Okay, you are defined, and now you can call it println, and you can say calculate 30 comma 50. It simply works. So here Kotlin, here works. Kotlin, you can define function inside another function. This is your local function. Kotlin support. This is your top level functions. You can declare function in the flat and the file itself. So these are the functions. Function can be placed top level in the file or inside your function itself, known as a local function. And the normal way of declaring function, always declaring one class. Inside a class you can declare another function, that is your normal function, also known as a method. In Kotlin, all functions should return some value. So this is the kind of scope. If you talking about the Kotlin, there are no any procedures. Okay, procedures does not return any value, but because in the Kotlin every function return at least your one object known as unit. And note that this is one function. Okay, that function print user, pass your user object, and print your user. Okay, and here you can here you can declare function, and here you can use function, and you can also check what is the result. Okay, let's write function print display. Let's take str string and print and your like call display dollar euro str, and here you can write while result equal to display and write Scott. If you run it, it still works. Means you are invoking function, you have not specified any return type, itself you are getting some result. Here you can print your result, and also you can check print, there is a function result is unit. You can check this is the unit or not. So by default, if you're not specifying any return types, though your function does not any return keywords, they assume you are returning a unit. This is the Kotlin.unit. This is the Kotlin.unit result, and you can say in Kotlin you are specify return types or not specify return types. Each and every function in Kotlin returns some value. Even you are not specifying any return types, even specify or not. So this is the, you can say, the due to this nature of Kotlin, you can say Kotlin can support a function, can support a method, but cannot support your procedure. Procedure is the kind of function but doesn't return any value. But here in Kotlin, always returns some value. So here till now we have discussed how to define a functions. You write your fun keyword, your function's name, and your input types, what function take input, and what the return types. Okay, so here and first declaring a function, and then next you use the function. I am using the function. So here some pass value. So here sometime confusion, what is this and what is this. So sometimes we are using the words parameter, sometime argument. We are generally use interchangeable, but you should know the exact meaning. Where is the parameter and what is the argument? If you talk about the parameter, is the variable defined inside the function definition. So this is your parameter. Your length is the parameter, and while argument is the actual value passed to this function. So here is the tens. 10 is a value, integer value pass here. So this 10 value is your actually argument. This is your parameter. So be clear here. Length is the parameter. What is the length? Length is the parameter. You are define a variable inside a function definition. This is the parameter. And when you are going to use this function, here I am using the function, at that time you pass the actual value. Actual value is the 10. So this is your argument. So be ensure while defining variable in the function known as a parameter, and when we are going to actually use calling this function, invoking this function, what the value we are passing, that is your argument. So this is your argument, this is your parameter. Sometimes similarly, if in the case of generic classes, you say simply argument types and parameter type as well as. So these are the functions, syntax and semantics Kotlin support. So please know you have a found keyword to write your functions, your function name, it's a mandatory, and this is your input type, it's optional. One function can take 0 argument or 1 argument or 2 argument, any number of argument can take, and your return types can be optional. Your functions can return some value, you cannot return some value. If they return some int value, you have to specify int or string. If your function didn't return any value, then you have to specify your unit. If you are not specify unit, by default Kotlin return as a input types, your return type as a unit. So in short, in Kotlin, each function must returns your value. So due to that, in Kotlin say Kotlin function is a first class citizen. So you can pass function to as an argument or assign to a variable. Here what to do? Here we are a function and can assign to a variable. No, always they return some value. You can pass function as argument. Your function can return another function. So these are the benefit of your functions. Okay, so this is the very flashy syntax of functions. So please use the functions. Kotlin offer lots of optional things. You have to type return types, but syntax is the common syntax is always be clear. Fun is your mandatory part. Your function name is the mandatory part. What function name you write? Your opening brace, curly brace. This is the mandatory. What the your function take input might be 0 argument or 1 argument, 2 argument, and colon your return types. Return types is also optional. Opening brace and curly brace, your body and your returns, what the value returns here. So this is the optional, this is the optional, this is optional, this is optional. In the case of only one line of x, your function body, you directly place here equal to and place your value. So these are the very concise kind of a syntax and semantics Kotlin offer to write a function. So again here I would like to thank you for watching this video.